school, there were times when it was all you could do to keep from falling asleep. Sometimes the lesson content can be really boring for your students, even though it's critically important to what you're teaching. One thing we know from research on effective instruction is that student achievement is linked to their engagement during the lesson. The more engaged our students are when we're teaching, the more they'll understand and remember. And as a bonus, research shows that students who are engaged with instruction are less likely to be disruptive. What does it mean to say that students are engaged? To be sure, that's a difficult question. Sometimes it's so hard to tell because we all know it's possible for students to be looking right at you, even nodding as you speak, and yet not be hearing a word you say. Their body is there, but their mind is elsewhere. When students are at least looking in the direction of the teacher and not causing disruptions, we refer to this as passive engagement, or sometimes we say the student is on task. But we really don't know if the student is on task unless we see him or her interacting with the curriculum. Active engagement means that the students are actively taking part in the lesson. This activity can take many forms. The key is that the students are being asked to think and apply, even in very simple ways throughout the lesson. Can you tell from these pictures which students are actively engaged and which are passively engaged? While the passively engaged students might be attending, the actively engaged students are obviously engaging with the lesson in some physical manner. And it's this type of engagement that is highly predictive of achievement. When lessons are super exciting or interesting, students can be passively engaged in a meaningful manner. Unfortunately, not everything we teach has enough pizzazz to be exciting for everyone. In these cases, it's especially important to facilitate active engagement. Once it's time to practice, the students are, of course, actively engaged as they are required to complete tasks. But during the lesson, teachers can facilitate active engagement by giving students quick and frequent opportunities to respond, or what we call OTRs for short. An OTR is any teacher question or direction that allows the student to think about what is being taught and respond in some way using that line of thought. Teachers can provide OTRs in a number of simple ways. You can have students working with materials at their desk as part of a step-by-step instruction, or even have them raise colored cards in response to questions. But this is all done as part of the instruction, not as part of practice or assessment. OTRs are meant to engage the student during the introduction of key skills and concepts. Take a look at the following classroom and consider the degree to which students are actively and passively engaged. Be ready to discuss both of the teacher's use of OTRs and the student's engagement.
The Doppler effect occurs when sound waves vary in frequency depending upon their distance from the person perceiving the frequency. It makes sound appear to have a lower pitch at a distance and higher pitch as it comes closer. You might have experienced this as a siren approached and then moved away.
Think about the lack of active engagement in this lesson. Do you ever have students looking like this in your classroom? Discuss with your group where the teacher missed opportunities to engage students. Which of the OTR strategies would be appropriate for you in this situation? And how would you have to alter them for your content and students? Now, take a look at this scenario and see if you can pick out all of the times the teacher gives their students an OTR.
Okay, everybody open your book to page 97 and touch your finger on the title Doppler effect. Now, we haven't covered this yet, but raise your green card if you know what the Doppler effect is, and raise your red card if you don't. Okay, so this is new to everyone. Take a look up here at the board. If you are standing right here and there's a motorcycle right here driving toward you, what does that sound like? Josh, what does a motorcycle sound like as it drives closer and then drives away? Well, that's odd. It sounded like the sound of the motorcycle was changing as it passed by. Sophia, will you please come up here and assist me? Thank you. Now we already know about waves. So let's say the motorcycle sound waves are like when you throw a rock into the water. The waves get farther apart as they go out. So Sophia, will you please draw the sound waves around the motorcycle like ripples in a pond? Thank you. So the motorcycle is here, and here you are, and the sound is going to be like what Josh said. So Elijah, will you please come up here and pretend to be the person hearing the motorcycle? Okay, great. We know that low frequency sounds have a low pitch, like a bass, and high frequency waves have a high pitch, like a squeal. So Elijah, place yourself near the motorcycle. Okay, great. Okay, everyone hold up your green card if you think these waves are high frequency, and your red card if you think low frequency. All right, Jada, you said high frequency, and that's right. How did you know?
The lines are closer together when they're close to the source of the sound.
Excellent. So the sound here near the motorcycle is higher pitched. So what about when the motorcycle is far away? Nathan, higher or lower?
Lower frequency waves, so lower pitch.
Great. Okay, so as the motorcycle is far away, the sound waves are farther apart, or low frequency. Then as the motorcycle gets closer, they turn to high frequency and then lower frequency as the motorcycle drives by. And that's the Doppler effect.
Notice that the students did not know about the Doppler effect entering into the lesson, and thus engagement was used to teach the concept itself. There will still need to be more practice, but OTR kept the students engaged throughout the lesson. Discuss with your group how you've used OTR in the past and how your students have responded. Consider special ways in which you've had to develop OTR for your students in order to be successful, and how you'd go about using OTR to increase engagement in your current classroom or classes. Between now and your next meeting, take some time to try using some new strategies for providing OTR in your classroom. Consider how well these strategies worked and be prepared to discuss with others what you learned, especially how you adapted these strategies for your students and content.